One. What's up? This is the Rezbt S Podcast. I'm here right now with my cutie doggy called Winter. This is Winter, the future studio dog. He's one of the dogs that were raised here in Future Studio. So mula pagkabata, mahilig na silang sumali sa mga nagre-recording. And as you can see, he's very behaved. He's just sitting right there. He's about like 4 or 5 years old now, and he's really used to doing recordings with people, especially now na mas matanda na sila. Usually, mahilig siya sa hip-hop artists. They greet hip-hop artists with bark. And right now, he's just gonna join me for the intro. You ready for the intro, Winter? All right, we'll do the intro. Let's go. This is Res BDS Podcast, episode 66.
Show my rice, show my rice, show my Ako ay nagugutom, gusto ko show my rice. Show my rice, show my rice, show my Ako ay nagugutom, gusto ko show my rice. Ayy, show my rice with the grits and beans. Stepped out the house, yeah, I'm so clean. From ATL to the Philippines. Show my rice, it's yummy. Show my rice in my tummy. Show my rice when it's sunny. Show my rice whenever I need. Yeah. Show my rice. 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 Ayy. Show my rice. Ayy. Show my rice. Show my rice. Show my rice. Show my rice. Show my Ako ay nagugutom, gusto ko show my rice. Show my rice. Show my rice. Show my Ako ay nagugutom, gusto ko show my rice.
All right, thank you very much. Winter, what do you have to say? All right, sige, pwede na yan. Pwede na yan. I know you're super corny and super tired, but thanks for joining my show. And we'll start the monologue in a bit. All right, how about that for an intro? Maiba lang. At it gets hard, really podcasting and monologuing and recording free time. It's really hard. And since we're all about free expression and kind of doing the stuff the way we know, I'm gonna focus now on monitoring my voice. I'm feeling pretty healthy, and I'm just, you know, I love my house dogs. I don't know why I started with this, but kagabi, just to sort of ramp it up a bit, I was thinking of the word atrophy. Hindi ko alam yung translation ng word na atrophy sa Tagalog. But it has to do with yung panghihina. Panghihina ng muscles, panghihina ng... and I was thinking of that because, we're all about sometimes, lagi nang sinasabi ng mga Tagalog, yung lakas, lakas naman, ganyan, or like... And atrophy naman yung opposites, especially in the muscle kind of sense. If you're not exercising, you experience atrophy. And recently I've been experimenting with that again because instead of really training hard, di naman season ngayon, I don't really need to prepare for that kind of thing. But I do get tempted, and now I felt like I have descended into a balanced sort of atrophied state, a weak state, which is why you can hear sort of my more of my relaxed sort of tone. Of course, I get ramped up. Of course, there's still power in I think in thinking, power in not thinking, and power in relaxing, and in any skill level or industry that you have experienced mastery. There's ang tawag sa gamers, ang tawag sa ganun ay new game plus. Yung tapos na pero nilalaro pa, parang mga matatanda, 'di ba? Parang ano na, game na, gina-game palalo. And my dogs usually help me a lot around with the relaxation of realizing this, because bukod sa number one, it's highly proven uh to of course, the dogs being that fluffy, being that cute, and like, camera friendly. Sometimes they almost look at you as if they want to speak with you, but they only want food anyway. And like, doggy breaks and kind of ganyan. It's really kind of a thing. It's a thing. But to ramp it up a bit, it kind of makes you wonder sometimes. Yung sasabi nilang phrase na ano, na we actually live already in cat dog heaven, right? Have you heard of that phrase? Yung parang for humans, this reality is something else. But for other people, for other beings, cat dog heaven is like, this is cat dog heaven, meaning that they are living in heaven. And if you think about it, if I'm just gonna be honest about it, a lot of dogs and cats live the life, and they've been animated into movies. Pero yung mga kaklase mo, never pa na-experience yung mga ganun, di ba? And like, specifically our dog, si Winter. Winter's a boy, by the way. Si Winter ang nagpapaligo sa kanya, college graduate, 'di ba? Napaka-swerte, you know. We raised college graduates sa magandang school. As ang trabaho ng college graduate na 'yon, magpapaligo siya ng aso. So, ganun. So, napakaswerte ng heaven mode ni Winter for a dog, for a bichon, for a baby, na mismong yung nagpapaligo sa kanya, mataas din yung katungkulan. So if you think about that, diba, that's why you should never compare yourselves with dogs. That's why you should just treat them just with love. Kumbaga, pag aso ka, ang trato sa'yo, love, love lang. Actually, kahit mukha kang tao, pero kung asal-aso ka naman, kunyari, yung pakinabang mo is pang aso lang, you're just treated like a dog, right? You're just treated, papaliguan ka, papakainin ka. Minsan hindi ka napapaliguan kasi minsan yung ibang aso natututo maligo on their own. And then, pag marunong na sila mag-relax, okay na yun kasi relax lang naman yung mga aso talaga. And yung iba tumatanda ng gwapo na. So, nagkakaanak. Pag nagkaanak na sila, ibang usapan na yun, 'di ba? Parang doon na pumapasok yung tinatawag natin na scientific mind. And I always talk about the scientific mind also, although I'm not really a scientist by profession, a lot of you guys know me as like this really annoying kid in electronic music na parang who used to use a lot of auto tune because people used to think that I can't sing for shit. But I mean, I literally don't believe in myself as a singer anymore. But we'll see, as I quit the music scene, as I quit this music sort of hulu baloo that is a dream in the Filipino setting. And then as I sort of walk the way of shitting, uh, shitting on it while I'll step out again. Alam mo, yung mga ganong style ba ng mga matatanda. Eh, I'm kind of into that. I'm kind of into that really. And like, to be honest, although I'm like not guilty of being sort of an influential, what do you call that? An influential uh, provocateur, diba? Kasi na-spot na ako, nahuli na ako actually. Nahuli na ako sa music scene na ako pala yung isa lang naman, isa sa mga anim na main provocateurs in the music industry, especially just in Metro Manila. Hindi kasaling sa Cebu, hindi kasaling yung mga scenes sa Mindanao. Since di rin kasali yung mga independent masyado kasi of course people like me, we've already signed contracts and like we actually write our own contracts ourselves. If like yung logic kasi doon, maybe probably I could explain later on this podcast. um, but what I'm saying is like I've been there and I've done that. In terms of the audio sort of recording and I've recorded a lot of hip hop na hindi naman seryoso, mga classical na lang, pangmisa lang, mga ganyan. So, I've recorded those and they take those stuff seriously, really. And I understand where they're coming from, because they really love that kind of stuff. And, kumaga, sa music kasi sa music, not just in the audio, sa music, it's a very, very wide sort of scheme. Diba? Parang yung bulahan na to, yung ng music, the context of music is very, very wide. Meaning that we merit respect where it is due. So like kunyari, you merit respect because magaling ka magsulat ng piano music or magaling ka manggaya ng mga pianista or mabilis ka mambaboy ng mga lyrics. parang gano'n yun, eh, and then 'di ba parang sa kung kunyari hindi ka naman musikero 'di ba, parang nakakatawa 'di ba, parang nag-aano 'di ba, nag-aalaskahan, you realize nag-aalaskahan. Pero sa music scene, it's taken very seriously and parang they go especially if you're a good composer, they're like, "What the fuck does this guy mean?" Right? And they tweet about it, put it on their own platform. Sometimes they let it affect them parang para yung iba 'di ba ginagamit nila yung mga ganitong pananalita para maka-write sila ng emo songs kasi idol nila Hale. 'Di ba yung Hale yung ano, eh, parang talagang nagsimula ng tinatawag ng kamikaze na ano, na pogi rock. Eh, ako naman matagal na akong ano, ever since nung sumikat ako, pumangit na agad ako, eh, kasi sabi nila, "Oh, pangit ka, umalis ka diyan. Pangit ng boses mo. Tunog robot, alis ka diyan. Alis ka diyan, baba ka diyan." Um, Tas di man ako nasaktan actually, di ako nasaktan parang napaisip ako lalo, especially nung narinig ko na yun, ayaw pala nila ng auto-tune. Eh, ba't kayo nakikinig sa Chico Sai, 'di ba? Kung ayaw niyo ng auto-tune, huwag kayong makinig sa Chico Sai, 'di ba? Eh, yung Chico Sai, 'di ba, matagal ko na ring fans yung Chico Sai. Di naman sa matagal na, 'di ba, pero parang nauna lang sila sa akin ng mga 20 years. Tapos siyempre sa mga vampires kasi ano ba naman yung 20 years, 'di ba? Anyway, so all this talk is really like high level. High level na to be honest. Ito na yung pinaka high level na kind of talk that you can bring about for teenagers and like very high level na to. They go like, wala akong masabi dyan, bro. Di ako yung expert dyan eh. Tapos pag uwi nun, ano yung pupunta yun sa Spotify o kaya makikinig yun bibili yun ng MP3 player na, alam mo yun, puro, ano lang naman, jackpot lang naman yung mga MP3 nila. And that's why I'm super careful about like music, you know. I'm super duper careful about sharing how I made Luwin here, how I made Someday Dream here, among other music types of music, ano. And I'm just really bummed out, you know. Like I think this is all coming from being bummed out that Daft Punk has finally called it quits, broken up after 20 years. Yeah, let's pause for that a bit. 28 years of Daft Punk. Kagabi, when I heard about it, I was just sad, but I literally cried some tears, mga four, this morning. And then, nakakainis kasi yung snare ng Daft Punk is yung snare sound ng Daft Punk is very iconic for me. That snare sound, you know. I'm sorry if I keep in my nose. Kati lang talaga eh. Nangungulangot pa eh, no? Parang tatay lang. Anyway, kasama, dito lang naman sa Kuta, speaking of, nadini lang naman sa Kuta, what do you call that, forward ko lang yung push ko, ang tawag sa ganun? Punch in? Plug pala. Plug in ko lang yung bago kong, uh, uh, what do you call that? Single. Nakakalimutan ko na yung single. Talagang minamahal ko na kasi yung pagpa-podcasting, pagbo-broadcasting, recording of voice, audio. And it's hard, you know, working with these cameras and I'm not really the pogi type, you know, I'm not really like, especially like now nangangati talaga yung ilong ko. Parang alam niyo yung sa mga parang movies, yung parang pag nagsisinungaling ka, yun ang kukuchi-kuchi ng ilong mo. Maybe it's like that, you know, maybe may mga mumu talaga dito sa studio na to. But, you know, ano lang naman ako, kilala ko naman yung one true Lord. So, ano mo naman magagawa sa akin ng mga ngayon, ng mga ganun, kundi mga ano lang, mga labit lang. And sa totoo, nangangalabit naman talaga sila. And all of this is really parang related to what I call the Shinto angular approach. It's not a Shinto, it's not ano, but it's a Shinto angular approach, meaning spiritual, nature spirit based sort of approach. You could call it either scientific, but importante dyan is nakatapat yan sa what used to be the official religion in that part of the Asia. Shinto angular approach of studying base Tagalog or studying language. And that's what BT means in base Tagalog theory. Now, in the base Tagalog theory, we're talking a lot about kung paano magsalita ng Tagalog sa panahong kontemporaryo. Kung paano gumawa ng mga Tagalog strings or mag-isip in Tagalog strings na ginagamit yung mga words na English. And if you study my previous podcasts which are sort of weak and ngayon pa lang lumalakas konti, alam mo yun, konting lakas lang by a couple of degrees. Ngayon pa lang lumalakas ng konti yung mga podcast natin. My nose is killing me. Makate lang, di naman ako sinisipan talagang just really maybe the magnetism of like having all these gear, having all these gear in front of me and like naalala ko yung mga friends, wala na kasi akong friends na ubos na. So yung mga friends ko mayaman na, one mayaman na, may asawa na, may anak na. Eh ako 30 pa lang ako, wala pa naman akong masabi sa mga ganyan, ba't naman ako gagawa ng anak, 'di ba? Wala namang nag-utos sa akin na gumawa ng anak. So, sa ganun lang ako napag-iisip and you might find yourself surprised because na ganito ako ka tatas, ganito ako ka sharp. Because I'm only 30 years old, I just turned 30. And if you are 10 years younger than I am, I wouldn't be surprised, diba? If you can understand me, because this is actually, we've been saying a lot that we actually speak base Tagalog also. And even if you are into other dialects, even if you're from another part of the country, another part of the, what do you call that? Another part of the archipelago, it's really, parang nakakarinig ka naman ng Tagalog, nakakarinig ka naman ng English. Pag kinombahin mo, ang tawag ba doon Filipino? Hindi yata. Ang tawag ata doon base Tagalog, yung kinukoin natin na base Tagalog. One, for our writing, because we don't all write na in pure Tagalog, pure Filipino. This yung academic basis nito, although I don't like the word academic anymore because no one really needs academics these days, right? Sa mga res imposters out there, ba kailangan niyo pa ba ng academics, 'di ba? Parang 20 years na kayong drop out. Tapos 15 years na kayong may sariling trabaho. Do you really need academics? No. What you need is communication, high-level information being passed around, leads, and detective work, and with a good mix of chismis, opprobrium, right? And this is our culture. You have to love it or hate it kind of thing. But syempre, dun lang tayo sa love lang. Like what I said, yung love lang, kung mahilig ka sa maraming aso, go to Sinsay. Or marketing ng tutayism, go to Sinsay. Yan yung like the God design, right? Yan yung talagang kailangan mong ma-accept sa Pilipinas. Kahit sa mga babae, go to Sinsay. Yan yung kailangan mong ma-accept para pag mag-aasawa ka na, siguraduhin mong tao, diba? Siguraduhin mo muna tao yung asawahin mo or hindi siya hunted na parang vagabond, like what you see in those sort of cartoon stories that we all talk about. And I would pause here a bit because I kind of want to go back to the idea of what do you call this? Maybe lying or like creating content. A lot of us, create content, short format, yung tipong, kasi I'm sure a lot of you are gonna hate me for this, is like, short format content is made by compressing like a day's vlog. Kunyari, a day's vlog, so 24-hour vlog, nag-shoot kayo. Parang sa music video, di ba? Parang, turuan ko muna kayo konti ng what I know sa nakita kong proseso. Ganun lang naman ako, nakakita ko ng proseso, ina-analyze ko for 3 years. Tapos kasi ako gagawa ng content. Kaya, sobrang bagal ko sa gumawa ng music video eh. Diba? Sabihin mo ng standards or ano. But like, really, what I'm trying to do is like, express that we can do something more, diba? That's why kasundo ko yung podcasting. Sobrang kasundo ko yung format ng podcasting because, ito explain ko sa ibang video vlogs, sobrang pagkahaba-habang proseso na shooting na in-enjoy na nila. Tapos, kakat nila lahat ng mali. Diba? Kakat nila lahat ng mali. Lahat lang ng magaganda, yun yung i-compress nila into like a 4-minute video. Nothing wrong with that if you're a vlogger. Right? But if you're something else though, if you want to think of something else, if you want to do stuff for something else, yung similarity naman nito with podcasting is yung life na yung ginagawa mo. Yung life na yung ginagawa mo and then you compress it into a 1 hour, 40-minute podcast. And when we're talking about life, I always have to come down to just hating on the Catholic practices, not the Catholic Church. I mean, I like the Catholic Church in terms of its structure, of its design, kind of thing, 'di ba? Mga palusot na mga ano, 'di ba? Uy, ang ganda naman kasi ng design talaga eh. Parang kilala ko yung nag-design ng ano na to eh, ng parang halos tatay ko na rin yung nag-design ng ano na to, cathedral na to, 'di ba? So, yun ang mga excuses ng mga mason. Tapos, pero like, 'di ba? A lot of us who came from that memory side of life really kind of want to think about, kasi nakakapag-isip na tayo eh, yung tinatawag na innate logic, yung innate na katalinuhan na parang yung ibang tao pag na pinag-uusapan na parang na-excite sila, uy matalino to, parang para na akong bumabalik sa grade school, 'di ba? And para na akong tinitira ng high level, tinatawag nilang high frequency. Yung high frequency, ang actually nakakatakot na part doon, yung frequency, hindi yung high. Yung high kasi, ang ibig sabihin ng high, mataas. Pag tinagalog mo yung high, ang ibig sabihin nun mataas. So, high meaning, kunyari, sa 100 versus 2, mas mataas yung 100, syempre. Kasi yung 100 is 98 more than 2. Tama? So, kung tama yun, ibig sabihin, mas high doon yung 100, hindi yung 2. Yung 2 actually, ano lang yan, maliit lang yan na number. Pero sa symbology, merong ibang meaning ang 2. Merong iba-ibang meaning ang 2. For example, itong nasa likod ko, nakakita ka ng 2 sa likod ko. Sa harap ko, merong 1 lang. 1 lang. Sa taas merong 1 lang din. Anyway, coming back to logic, right? Coming back to kasi nakakapag-internet na tayo eh. Tayo yung tipong type of modernistang tao. Postmodernista na nga eh, di ba? Parang di na tayo masyadong nakikinig sa mga post-celebrity. We always hate on them artistas. We're always like, bitch, like, what do you want from me? I don't know you, right? Di ba? Shinto angular approach na, right? And you're like, sometimes you kind of want to think that you have subtitles, when you're talking or when you sound like this, parang once you get your thing going on, you kind of want to imagine that you have subtitles going on para ikaw yung character sa sarili mong protagonist world, because we're all world builders now apparently, di ba? Kakagaling lang natin sa Ragnarok, sa Sword Art Online, sa isekai na ganito, isekai na ganyan. Paglabas natin, ibig sabihin tayo na rin yung game master, tayo pa rin yung protagonist. I mean, you shouldn't act like you're not thinking this way. You should actually assume and accept that you are thinking this way para mas maintindihan mo at mas malalo mong masalita in Tagalog or in your dialect, because your dialect is very much controlled by the Tagalog politicians, right? Ang dami-daming nagbe-base Tagalog na politician eh. Kaya nga sinasabi nila yung sambayan-based. Ibig sabihin, pina-follow nila yung base Tagalog theory, and now you know where the source of that is coming from. You should pay your respects, your tributes by sending likes and shares. And as you can see, I'm not smiling about this because I've lost a lot of friends being able to share what I think is contemporary. A lot of us kasi we confuse truths with nationality and ethics and the past and hurt and memory. Alam mo, we all sa peak, and I think that's the wrong kind of being a postmodern. Yung parang just because you don't understand these English words, just because you know the sound of these English words but don't really necessarily know the deeper meaning of them, doesn't mean that you can use them in a nice fashion, 'di ba? Kumbaga, akala mo lang naglalakad ka na sa ibabaw ng tubig, ay yung pala ano ka pa rin, seafood ka, ikaw pala yung mismong seafood, 'di ba? So pag nakain ka na, ano nang gagawin mo ngayon? Mag-aaral ka pa rin, 'di ba? So mag-aaral ka na. Ngayon, sinasabi ko, ginagamit ko yung mga English words in the light of pagbe-base Tagalog. All right? Now that you get that, let's go back to the words that I just said. Ano ba yung words that I just said? I don't have a maximum rewind over here, but like what I mean is um, sometimes we think in subtitles, and that's very dangerous to consider, especially when we're faking it on social media. If you want to fake it on social media, you'd rather have I would rather have you have a camera, have a script, have a sort of a director, a ghost director, or a muse Diba? This is serious stuff, right? You should write this down. A muse, a referential OG book, a referential OG dead guy, and then a referential buhay pa na referee para kahit anong gawin mo, they could. I mean, we're all speaking to referees now. Everyone's like, okay, I can't stand this, right? Diba sabihin nila, but I can't stand his I can't stand his the way he mocks us. Sino ba naman tayo, 'di ba? Ano lang naman tayo, hardworking artists lang tayo, 'di ba? We don't need these contracts. I just wanna work for my pogi boss, 'di ba? Yung boss ko pogi, tapos maganda yung posisyon sa bangko, tapos baka maging mayor pa. Ganun lang naman mentality ng mga Pinoy, 'di ba? Ano bang pinagsasabi mo? Ano bang nirereklamo mo, 'di ba? Basta mukhang mayor, okay na 'yun sa amin. 'Di ba? Si Mayor TV nga, 'di ba, parang dapat sa tingin ko nagpa-podcast na si Mayor TV, si Kong TV nagpa-podcast na din. And and I don't mention them because I'm sure Prince and Praise malapit na 'yan, yung dalawang yan, si Prince and Praise pati si Boss Carepa ba yun? Yan malalapit na yan mag-podcast, pinag-iisipan na yan, inaaral na nila kung paano gawin yung podcasting, long format sort of speaking. But then, being comedians themselves, aside from Kong, right? Is Kong, ganito rin naman talaga yun, Tagalog naman talaga yun dati pa. Anyway, di ba? Aside from, that divide between behind the scenes and frontline sort of comedy, coming back to that compression process, 'di ba? Ano lang naman yun video, ang tawag lang dyan ay video editing, and there's a lot of softwares that you could use to learn that. Free softwares like this and that, and just Google it. But like, you kind of realize, once you have your camera down, you find out how to edit yourself. You find out how to sort of look at yourself in the camera without crying, um, or without making extra noises. And um, and sounding like a smart ass, 'di ba? Parang ikaw yung parang ikaw na yung character sa tawag sa ganun, yung maingay sa anong anime yun, yung maraming superheroes na bata. Parang ganun, 'di ba? And if you could go on for like that, it's really a tone that you have to adjust for, because to my listeners, this is my speaking voice eh. This is my sort of teaching voice. This is my sort of, alam mo na ba? Alam mo na ba? Parang ganyan. Yung iba naman kasi nasa stuck lang sa thumb typing. Yun yung lagi kong sinasabi at laging sinasabi ng mga intellectuals. Kung may gusto kang sabihin, huwag mo gamitin yung antena mo. Yung antena mo kasi pangsagap yan eh. So kunyari may nasagap ka, ang gamit ng antena mo, pag nasagap mo, i-type mo lang. Huwag mo isiwalat agad. Parang ano ka yun eh, parang ikaw si Plankton. Tapos you're barking up the wrong tree by talking to Squidward, by talking to 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 SpongeBob, to Patrick. Yung tatlong yun yung Diyos nung anong pangalan, Bikini Bottom, right? Yung tatlong yun, kung ikaw naman si Plankton, ikaw yung pagkain nila, ikaw yung clan mo yung pagkain nila, 'di ba? Yung existence nyo, yun yung ginagawang patty burger, 'di ba? So, kung naisip mo na yun, tapos plankton ka pa rin mag-isip, tanda mo na binigyan tayo ng teknolohiya para gamitin yung ito para sa pagsusulat at pagsisiwalat at more research ng kung ano ba yung na-experience natin in our own realities. In my own reality, I've moved through different worlds. I moved through different worlds, and the scientific basis of that right now in the contemporary world is just divided into two things. Pinapanood ko itong dalawang matandang magkapatid, sino Weinstein, the Weinstein brothers. The one Weinstein brother is evolutionary scientist, and then one is a mathematician, theorist, theoretical, sort of music-loving uh, physicist, right? Now, so, and upon watching them talk, it's really the crusp of it all is like, where in science do you want to place yourself in? Is it in a physical sort of holographic math based world, or in a on our, on or on the evolution of the mind, evolution of the sophic, the philosophical mind, the sort of the philosophy of sciences kind of angle. Dalawa yan eh. Dalawa yan na pwede mong pagpingpongin din, in the same way that I ping pong between Pinoyism and memories of religion and nationalists and Catholic hating, right? Which is something that it's been happening for a while now, diba? Parang we laugh about the memes, right? We laugh about these saints kuno, but like we laugh about them, but there's some truth there. There's some deeper logic there that you have to study. Anyway, coming back to these intellectual brothers that I've been studying, um, it's really what the greatest points about then. Unahin ko na muna yung sa math side is that we have already learned what Einstein taught us. And what, ito na, dinrop ko na naman si Einstein. And if you've been following the other podcast, Einstein came up with the theory of relativity. Einstein's generation came up with the bombs. There's been wars and stuff like that. What we think is the deeper pagtatagalog nito is nangyari na yun sa mundo. Nangyari na yun sa mundo, ginamit na nila yung mga theory nito sa mga atoms, sa reality, sa fabric of reality. And then it changed our consciousness forever post-war. And created communities of science, created communities of computer users. And like yung sinasabi ng mga mas OG pa na theoretical physicists is there wouldn't be computers, there wouldn't be lasers, cameras, manufacturing, industries, this advanced minds, hearts, sort of compatibilities between sort of yoga and MacBooks, kind of compatibilities without theoretical physics. So we owe it up to actually Einstein for figuring out how to measure in a new light, in a new dimension, in a new sort of measure, how to go about the future world. And no one could have predicted this, right? Because of course, wala naman si Einstein sa Bible. Pero yung mga naaral niya ba as part of that of part of the old book, so to speak, is it part of any other old book? And you kind of want to think about it and as a contemporary person, which this is why it is very important for me as a theorist to talk about also Einstein, is because even though there's that argument na wala naman siya sa ganitong historical piece, or wala naman siyang kinalaman sa mga ganitong Pinoyism, hindi naman siya Pinoy, 'di ba? Yung ganung pag-iisip, 'di ba? Hindi naman siya Pinoy, ba't ko kailangan aralin 'yan? Hindi naman siya part ng politics ko. Sino ba 'yan? Mayor ba 'yan, 'di ba? Ganun lang naman mag-isip yung mga Filipinos, 'di ba? But if you're getting smart, and if kunyari no ako nung bata pa ako, I think at 6 years old I already know of Einstein, right? At 6 years old, I'm already 5 times older now, right? Just you see what I did there with the 6 times 5. Anyway, like what I'm saying is theoretical physicists are saying that without the knowledge of that, we couldn't have ended the war really quick. We couldn't have realized that we are using a lot of high-level technology. This isn't mga bato-bato lang na nilalagay. Ano to, crystal na nilalagay-lagay natin dyan, may magkakaroon ng memory, mag-hold ng memory, tapos dadasalan mo yung bato, diba? Mga ganyan. No, these are technological breakthroughs, and this is part of why we keep on going sometimes, you know. Sometimes I feel like I don't matter as a musician. Sometimes I don't feel like I matter as a person, diba? But because I have provided for a certain amount of people, a community, way of using technology in a way na konting-konti na lang gagawin na rin nila akong Diyos, buti na lang nakapag-iisip din sila. And they realize, oh, this is just a normal ranty person. This is just a normal smart ass fucker who wants to teach kids, right? And ano namang gagawin ng kids, diba? And syempre yung kids, kunyari kids ka pa, may kinig ka talaga, di ba? Parang kang pumapasok sa online class na parang, pwede ba to guys? Oh, pwede to. Walk in to, walk in. Di ba? Come in and go, in and out, on and off, kind of go in and out, pick up some whatever you want to pick up. But, at least you know the itsura, 'di ba? At least din naman ang start ng ano pag-iisip nakita mo na yung itsura eh. So, alam mo na kung paano mo babalikan, 'di ba? Kung bata ka, kung street smarts ka kunwari. Now, coming back to the math side of it, a lot of math aware people, uh, I gotta say this because I'm a fan of the other side, which is Ian Hacking philosophy of sciences. Now, we are mathematical social beings. Tayo yung mga unggoy na nag-socialize. Inalis natin yung mga, nag-evolve tayo para mawala yung mga extra buhok. Tapos nag-shave tayo ng mga kung saan ang buhok na hindi naman kailangan kasi may cameras na eh. Meron na tayong mga kadamitan. Tapos ganun tayo, tapos natuto pa tayo ng math, 'di ba? So hindi ka lang basta nanliligaw ng babae, hindi ka lang basta ng woo-woo, 'di ba? Ng other types of man, but also nag-aaral ka ng math because yung math yung mas malaking logic that we kind of have to be able to understand first, 'di ba? Kailangan magka-logic ka muna in order for you to form better sentences, to keep on making sentences, to keep on sort of to be able to produce conversations. Like for this example, in my solo recording, I am focusing on the conversation of continuation, right? How do you continue from this to that to this to that, 'di ba? Kaya nga madami nagrereklamo sa mga module kasi sa pag binigyan ka ng 10 items, 'di ba? Binigyan ka ng 10 items, yung tao nakakabasa, nakakapili. So pinapili mo siya ng 10 times, sabay yung bigger picture hindi nag-work, lagot ka as a teacher, 'di ba? Kailangan nag-a-apply yung logic kasi when it doesn't add up, wala, pupuntahan ka nung magulang. Yung magulang nagtatrabaho. Nagtatrabaho sila day and night. Minsan dalawa pa yung trabaho nila, tatlo yung trabaho nila para makapag-aral sa magandang school yung anak nila. And then yung pag nasa magandang school ka, nasa magaling ka na pagtuturo, biglang naburat mo yung teacher. Yung isa pang yung tunay na teacher ng anak. Lagot ka doon, 'di ba? Bakit ka lagot doon? Kasi pinaghirapan nila yung pang tuition eh, 'di ba? Mahirap, madali bang gumawa ng ipang tuition ng anak mo for this year, for next year? Ikaw nga, magpaaralin mo nga sarili mo. Tingnan na natin kung matuto kang gumawa ng pera. Coming back to that is math. That is the basis of math because things have to add up, 'di ba? Kailangan maintindihan mo na pag in-add mo yung 3 sa 3, hindi yun 0. Never yun magiging 0 because yung 3, meron ng value yun eh. Pag dinagdagan mo pa ng isa pang 3, o di dumoble na agad yung value kasi parehas lang eh. Yung 3, yung doble, pag dinagdagan mo siya ng parehas pa rin yan, ng same. 'Di ba? Sinasabi natin yung 3, yung same, 'di ba? Kung 3 ka din, tapos ito 3 din to, 'di ba? So, same sila. Pag tiningnan mo sa daliri pa lang, yung left hand pati yung right hand, parehas lang. Parehas 3. Pag inad mo, yun na yun, 'di ba? Ang mangyayari diyan, bukod sa natututo ka nang sabihin yung yun na yun or suntok sa buwan or yung mga malilikot na pag-iisip na lagi naman yan nandyan, malayo pa naman, natututo ka na ng mga trending onomatopoeia, you have to sort of dig through that door, right? You have to sort of dig through that portal which leads you to just the understanding of how logic works. And how logic works from what I understand is that merong rules, maraming rules, 'di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng hindi naman pwedeng ah, hindi naman pwedeng kung ano-ano na lang yung pinagsasabi natin at porket yung mayaman tayo doon at yun na yung totoo. Now, what someone like Weinstein would be saying is a physicist, right? Is that we have to honor yung contribution ni Einstein at ng napakarami pang iba-ibang tipong type ng tao na natuto from Einstein na inaaral yung speed of light, different ways of measuring space, reality, space-time, nagka-theory of relativity, theory of ganyan. Huwag kang matatakot sa mga ganun. Hindi nakakatakot yun kasi ang point nga doon, and I'm stealing this joke from an old person. I'm stealing this joke from a lecturer Because I understand it. It's free. It's on YouTube. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Um, what they're saying is like, eh, ba't ka na, I'm being hyper about it. Bakit kang nakikinig ng ng Game of Thrones? Nakikinig ka ng Game of Thrones, nakikinig ka ng ah, series na ganito, series na ganyan. Diba? Tapos marinig mo lang yung physics, marinig mo lang yung high, mahirinig mo lang yung ganyan. Um, Ganito, ganyan, marinig mo lang yung Einstein, marinig mo lang yung speed of light and computation and acceleration and velocity and flux and like, tapos parang kumbaga, ibig sabihin ba nun na, ay, Tagalog lang ako, or like, wala namang ganyan sa Bisaya, diba? Wala namang ganyan sa pag-uusap ng mga kami lang ay mga farmers lang naman kami ng opobrium, diba? Kung ano yung baho ng ibang tao, yun lang ang tinatrabaho namin. Diba? Parang ganun lang ba talaga? Nah, right? Once you take that fear out of your being, then you are more open to what these words could teach you. I'm not even talking about the real theory, diba? Pero ang point ko lang bakit ko sinasabi yan is like, huwag kang matakot. Di kita pababayaan kailanman. Sino magsabi nun? Diba? Narinig ko lang yun eh. Nilagyan pa ng melody eh. Pero ninakaw lang din naman niya yun eh. Um, Now, the other side of that, if you ping pong that with a more basic understanding of things, ang ano dyan, ang main panaklaw dyan is philosophy of sciences. What does that sound? That's from my phone, sorry. Philosophy of sciences, right? And yung philosophy of sciences is yung pag-iisip, pag-control, literal na pag-study ng mga bagay-bagay na tinatawag na sciences. And one of the greatest points about the philosophy of sciences is that, while I'm being distracted here by my scientific phone, one of the greatest points that I've read in philosophy of sciences, if you read a lot of philosophy and lumampas ka na dun sa post-existentialism Nietzsche type of because now we're philosophizing sciences because we're in the scientific world, right? If you use a cell phone and you know that it's not just bato, that you could buy it with your sueldo and make money off it, um, the philosophy of sciences people are saying that actually science is constructivist, right? Constructivist, parang binuubuo lang yan eh. Nilego-lego lang yan ng mga tao. And I really remember one of the few dialogues that I've done with, yun nga, naaalala ko is like, I had another guest on. He's not a podcaster. He's actually a really low-key OG actor. Nasabi niya, before we even started the podcast, parang pinag-uusapan na namin yung philosophy of sciences na parang, bakit ano ba tayo, magbubuo ba tayo dyan? May gagawin, are we hyping things up? Parang wala naman tayong hinahype eh, diba? Parang wala lang naman yung hinahype natin eh. So, let's not be like that. Yun ang sinabi niya sa akin. And what that means in English is being constructivistic, social constructivism, right? Yung idea na kaya naman tayo naniniwala sa sciences of MacBooks, sa sciences of phones and cameras, and sciences of maybe instrumentation, the how wind how wind showing a recorder here for the Facebook feed. May hawak lang akong recorder. Yung may inaaral sa grade school, diba? How the science of that is realized is yun yung tinatawag nilang social constructivism. Yung meaning na hindi naman yan mabubuo, yung constructivistic idea na yan, yung pagkabuo niyan sa minds natin, yung meanings upon meanings of that, meanings upon meanings of having for example, ano bang science to? Science of yun nga, I mean the science, for example, of construction, lagay na lang natin doon yung building na you need 3 parts of this and 1 part of that to create concrete, right? May science doon, merong measure doon, merong proven way to do it consistently and repetitively. That is constructivist. Dagdag mo pa doon yung social, meaning yung pagiging social being natin dahil dahil kailangan natin uh, maging accepted sa isang group, sa isang society. No one is an island. We tend to want to believe and create belief systems, create scientific layers upon layers of social constructivism, and that's yun ang sinasabi ng philosophy of science about science, na why a lot of people don't believe in sciences is, for example, because the Chinese Empire was the expert of zodiac and astrology, if I'm not mistaken. I always confuse astrology and astronomy. But they were the experts of that, right? For example, in ancient Egypt, they were naman the experts of religion and science, diba? They were the center of religion and science in that world. So that being said, the philosophy of science side, uh, contrary to the logic and the math side of things, the high level, sinasabi yung high level counting, so, sa high level pag-iisip ng lahat ng siyensya, sinasabi nila ng science is actually just socially constructed. You know, it's still based on pagiging tao. It's still based on what are you? Ano ka ba? Science ka ba ng unggoy? Science ka ba ng aso? Hindi. Science ka ng tao. Yung tao kasi binigyan ng pag-iisip. So yung tao, for ano ba yung, pag binreakdown mo yung tao, di ba? May parts, may flesh, may gooey, may nakakapagsalta, may organs. But all that I've been saying is not coming from me. It's coming from a lot of sources. Postmodern. It's coming from a lot of meaning, of poetry, of a lot of things that I've practiced sort of saying imaginary at first, but I manifest them. I'm able to manifest them into sound. And me being a sort of a sound expert, alam mo yun, yung mga alien, diba? Yung mga alien na gumamit ng, yung mga alien na gumamit ng sound, madali namang gawin yun pag lagi kang nagre-recording tapos naka-headphones ka pa, diba? Kayang-kaya mong mag-impersonate ng mga ganitong mga arte. But if I'm just being natural about it, it's really because of social beings. You know, we are social animals who learned math. And that's the connect there, who learned math. And yung math dyan, hindi yan subject, hindi to English, diba? We're not in the basic, subject yung pinag-uusapan. Kasi ganun minsan yung, alam mo yun, yung mga katangahan ng mga Pinoy. Ano lang, for them, they're just stuck with this trending onomatopoeia. And for them, di ba ikaw, kahit naman ako as long as you are parang pinapatakbo mo tong trending onomatopoeia, tapos may grades ka, tapos nabobola mo naman yung teacher mo, tapos nababayaran pa ibang teacher, di ba? Minsan di lang naman politiko ang nababayaran eh. Sa totoo lang. Yung ibang school nababayaran para lang may pasok lang doon yung anak ng taong may pangalan na naging presidente. Anyway, I really respect his son though. What I'm saying is like, in that side of thinking, of philosophizing, if you're still onto my pagbe-base Tagalog, hindi ba na nung bata ka, dandanin natin, hanggat sa sumusunod ka naman sa trending onomatopoeia eh. Parang alam mo naman yung pinag-uusapan pinag-uusapan ngayon yung subject, yung math. Pinag-uusapan ngayon yung araling panlipunan, yung history na. Ngayon, cooking. Diba? Cooking na, okay na to. Diba? Parang favorite ko na tong cooking na to. So, pag favorite mo na yung cooking na yan, mapapansin mo, nakakasunod ka naman eh. That's trending onomatopoeia. But then the real learning of English needs comprehension, pag-intindi, pagsisiyasat. Dun sa, alangan namang sabihin ka lang ng cool mo bro. Alangan namang kilig ka na sa ganun, diba? Di ata eh. Parang ata dapat mas inuulit mo sa sarili mo yung deeper na yung kunyari, kumbaga sa pagtitimpla, 'di ba? Didikdikin mo muna. Tapos pag nadidikdik mo na, lilinya mo, tas kung hindi mo naman sisinghutin, halo mo sa tubig, 'di ba? Parang tea. Halo mo sa tubig, hot water, make some sort of chemical imbalance there, or chemical balance rather. And then sort of sip it, right? When you sip it, and then that's when you realize, there's something else here. There is something else here that is worth exploring because I can comprehend. I can I can comprehend. I can be like, hey, this actually means something else. It's either poetry or it's either poetry or it's either poetic or it's very specific, right? And if it rhymes, ang tawag doon rhythm, right? Because it rhymes and there's a certain tempo. Ang tawag naman doon rhythm. Now, you know all of these things na. Bubuo mo na yung vocabulary mo. Tapos nasasalita mo pa na pagdidikdik-dikdik mo pa, 'di ba na pag may nakipag ano ka, actually makinig ka lang sa podcast ko, magkakasyota ka na eh, alam mo, pwede ka naman ligaw ng lalaki, ganun ka potent yung sinasabi kong ano, 'di ba? Stuff, 'di ba? Pwede ka namang ligaw nung kunyari no boyfriend since birth ka, ito yung ina-unlock ko para sa'yo talaga as a listener. Ina-unlock ko to para sa'yo, para sa minsang subukan mong manligaw ng lalaki instead of waiting for the right guy, the one kind of thing. Pag sa minsan na hintayin mo yan, wag na, diba? Wag ka na maghintay, diba? Gawin mo na sa sarili mo, magpa-trigger ka na, diba? Parang kunyari, mang-trap ka na din, diba? Parang, anyway, if like you're being the Venus flytrap kind of thing. And then, kunyari na, ano ka pa, marami ka pang kabit, diba? Gawin mo na, i-try mo na talaga habang bata ka pa, diba? So parang, ang mangyayari sa'yo is, uy, grabe, kahit di ka masyadong kagandahan, kahit di ka masyadong mabango, diba? Kahit di ka naman naliligo talaga, diba? Parang sasabihin mo, uy, syempre sa date guys, kunyari, may ka-date ka na, huwag mong ano yun, yung ganito ako dati, mali ko to dati, parang, nang bubos ka, alam mo yun, uso kasi ito sa mga Bicolano eh. Eh, hindi naman ako nag-identify with Bicolanos. Um, um, diba, I don't identify with the Bicolanos and the Cebuanos. I just identify as a base Tagalog right now, to be honest. And you can't be like that. You can't be like, uy, naligo ka, diba? Kailangan, uy, mukhang naligo ka ngayon di ba? Mukhang bagong ligo ka. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin yun, di ba? Parang yung ethics nun sa language, hindi pwedeng kakakita mo, tapos di pa kayo close. Kunyari, di pa kayo close, tapos ang laging intro mo sa cutie na yun is like, uy, bagong ligo ka. Kasi it implies na sinasabi mo yung opposite din eh, yung dichotomy. Di ba? Since sort of Tagalog is regarded as a language of masters, you can't be like, uy, bagong ligo ka. Tapos isipin mo, every time na dinidate mo, every time na nakikita mo yung babae na yun or yung lalaki na yun, gagawin mo, bagong ligo ka. Tapos isang oras mo sasabihin, maligo ka muna kaya. Di ba? Naligo ka na ba? Mga ganun. Parang, di ba, tapos ka na dun sa face na, ano, yung panglambing mo is, kumain ka na ba? Kasi kumain ka na ba? Food. Ang ganyan, di ba? Uy, food. You want food? Di ba ganun? Parang, di ba? Pag nakita ka ng cute, sabi mo, uy, you want food? Di ba? Gaganon ka. Or you want coffee? Ito, 50 pesos, oh. Coffee, oh. Pagtabas ka na doon, ang next mo na dyan, actually, yung mas tama na, kasi yun yung zero eh. Yung, uy, bagong ligo ka. Yung ganun. Di ba? Hindi mo pwedeng gawin yun. Lalo na sa mga magagandang babae na marami ng, it's gonna be like catcalling for them. Especially, it's Tagalog eh. Right? You have to be able to like, say it in a fashion like, hey, you want some iced coffee? I really like, I kind of need some ice frigider right now. Diba? Mga ganyang bali. Diba? I kind of need some, ang lamig naman, ang init ng panahon, dun muna tayo sa may aircon, right? So that kind of thing, but it relates with, you know, the idea of water in the air, water in the surface of our human vessel, the body that protects the soul, right? You can't go straight up na, you can't go straight up na, ang baho ng ang baho ng paninindigan mo. Hindi pwedeng ganun. Kasi unang-una hindi mo kayo magkakilala eh. Kailangan easy-easy ka lang. Parang, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin, mukha kang di naliligo ah. O kaya yung, sasabihin mo ba na, na, tawag sa ganun, yung parang, ngayon ka lang naligo eh. Yung mga ganun ba? Hindi pwede yun. Kailangan, we're super chill about the way we use language, especially in the base Tagalog. We can use a wide range of English words. We can talk about sciences. We can talk about cognitive functions, right? Na for example, you have already sat the person down in front of you, male, female, bakla, tomboy, butiki, baboy. You have talked to that person and this person is, although kahit ano pang itsura niyan, 'di ba? Kahit ano pang kulay ng balat niyan, kausap mo na sa harap mo, you finally got them down. Finally na bola mo na sila enough after 1,000 texts to sit down in front of you and you're like, oh, gusto mo bang, ano bang gusto mong pinag-uusapan sa date, 'di ba? Gusto mo ba medyo konting philosophy na bale? Are you aware of the base Tagalog movement? Ano ka na ba? Marami ka na bang alam na Tagalog words? Kasi dun sa aming dialect, uso pa rin ng accents eh. So sometimes, yeah, you have to be honest. You have to be honest that sometimes, I interchange the fee and the P because, it's a very Filipino thing, right? It's a very Filipino thing. And yung mga dinidiin na words, basic lang yan sa Pinoyism, di ba? Sa 2K Pinoyism na pinauso ng mga dilawan 2010 hanggang 2020, diba? Let's admit it, diba? Let's admit, we were all swimming there in the 2K Pinoyism na porkit daw Pinoy tayo at ginulat natin yung buong mundo sa people power, 10 years tayong magiging proud doon, diba? 10 years tayong magiging proud na umikot-ikot tayo dun sa napakalaking rebulto nung sino ba yun, diba? But may napakalaking rebulto nun dyan. Dapat siguro ano yun na yun eh, parang may commentary na dun eh, nakapatay na yung ilaw nun, diba? Ba't nandyan pa rin yung rebulto? Tanggalin nyo, 'di ba? Kung hindi na kayo naniniwala dyan, ba't naka-display dyan? Kaya umaalis yung mga intellectual eh. Huwag na natin, kaya yung mga intellectual nagtatago eh. Kasi lalabas sila, makakita silang sobrang laking rebulto ng kung sino man yan. Ba't ganun, 'di ba? Bakit pag naabot na natin yung logic, yung mga, sabi nila yung mga babae, mga ganito yung mga babae, mga tiran eh. Parang, purkit daw, nandyan na dati pa wag na raw tanggalin. Yun ba yung pagmamahal? Yun ba yun? Yun ba yung pagmamahal na tinuro sa inyo? Sino nagturo sa inyo yan? Yung mahilig sa mga bata. Mga secret pedophilia. Tapos, porkit mahal mo naman yung turo nila, 'di ba? Porkit mahal mo naman yung turo nila, tama na rin yung ginagawa nila sa ibang, sa kapag di sila nagtuturo. Tapos, 'di ba, dinadaan ka sa mga magagandang mahahabang mga robes. Tapos wala raw silang asawa, wala raw silang ibang anak. Mga ganyan, 'di ba? Tapos dinidiscredit daw sila eh. Yung mga nagdi-discredit, tapos minsan nagpapaawa pa. 'Di ba, may mga pa-post pa ng kunwari may mga hope pa daw sila for the future. 'Di ba? Sa akin, parang ano na 'yun eh. 'Di ba? Obvious naman sa mga memes. Obvious naman sa mga memes na tumatalino na yung mga tao. So, nagko-comment sila sa kunyari, ikaw, napapa-comment ka na dito, comment mo na lang sa labas kasi hindi uso yung mag-comment dito. Pag nag-comment ka dito, baka may magalit sa'yo eh. Sinasabi ko naman lagi eh. Dito eh, parang sinasabi ko lagi, yung mga nakikinig sa akin, minsan may mga problema sa mata, may problema, yung isang yung mga isang tenga lang yung gumagana, 'di ba? So parang ang pasok lang para yung sure na hindi pag pumasok na doon na yun, nakatakip na yung dito, 'di ba? Hindi yung papasok dito lalabas sa kabila. Yung iba ganun talaga, sigurista kasi yung mga nakikinig sa akin. At matagal nang nakikinig sa Rezbt S Podcast, sa music ko, sa mga content ko talaga, sa mismong trending onomatopoeia ko. Now, we've gone all through that. What does this mean now? So what? So what, Riz? What is the purpose now of of uh maangas ka na niyan, 'di ba? Magaling ka na niyan kasi nasa bahay ka lang naman, 'di ba? Alam ko naman papunta sa gusto mo mag-usap tayo sa bahay mo. Parang gagana. O sige, 'di ba? Pero wait lang kasi I'm still doing the monologic series and it's gonna span until episode 100. I started with episode 60, announcing that it's going to be a monologic series that I'm just really going to be extracting my own expression, my own style, my own cadence in terms of being able to speak. And I don't care about if you compare me with this and that. It's really because one of my own drives is really upon reading the transhumanist declaration is like, I believe in transhumanism, right? I believe in humanism plus, yung idea na hindi pa tayo kompleto. So me as an artist, me as a bata, a son, a son, an influencer, a post celebrity, a sort of a podcaster now. I resonate with a lot of podcasters now. Sort of like that, I realized, man, 2020 was really bad for culture and arts and music, and it's really bad. It's helped me consider to not so much be mean to independent artists, because independent artists, although ayaw talaga nila ng kontrata, they're coming from this trauma na, 'di ba, yung pag kinontrata ka, ibig sabihin trabaho mo na yun. Ang gusto lang naman ng independent artist, hobby ko lang to, guys. Guys, hobby ko lang 'to, bayaran niyo ako sa GCash ko, 'di ba? Parang, "Uy, tingnan niyo ako, 'di ba, nagkakalkal ako ng music dito, ginagaya ko yung mga idol ko, bayaran niyo ako sa GCash ko kasi independent artist tayo, 2021 na, independent artist ka pa rin." Ayoko ng kontrata kasi 'pag binasa ko yung kontrata ko, wala akong pambayad sa lawyer. Ba't ako magbabasa ng kontrata? Wala akong tapang makipag-usap sa matatalino. Ba't ako mag-aaral ng stipulations ng fine print, so to speak? Gusto ko laro-laro lang. Gusto ko ganito-ganito lang, pabayaan niyo ako. 'Di ba? Gusto kong matuto on my own. Tapos natututo ka on my own, tangina yung hawak mo na pala yung ano, may humahawak na pala sa yung ibang klaseng halimaw. O kaya may ano ka na pala, best friends mo na pala yung mga anime na ini-imagine mo. Tapos 3 years kang ganyan, 5 years kang ganyan. But then sometimes in those 5 years, sometimes you get depressed. 5 years of depression, man. It makes your face kind of like prune up, and like para ka na rin nagkasakit ng matinding cancer, 'di ba? Ito yung dangers dyan. Ito yung sort of the serious side of it. The you know because sabihin ko lang that words have a metaphysical effect. And what does that mean? What does that mean is yung metaphysics of that, yung physics, the meta of it referring to itself, na nakikita mo sa kung ano-anong types of science. Sa logic pa lang nakikita mo na yan eh. Just by the way, if you don't have logic, you can't learn philosophy. I'm sorry. Just go to other podcasts with with a better trending onomatopoeia. Anyway, if you're listening to this, right, my trending onomatopoeia is all about that. Yung my study is all about that, unfortunately, right? Na yung mga taong sinasabi nila na wag na tayong mag-aral ng Filipino, wag na nating ipilit yung Pilipino, because we have to dig deeper into ourselves and learn really what it means to be a base Tagalog. Kasi nagtatagalog ako, sa bahay nagtatagalog kami, hindi man kami Englishero sa bahay. Kahit may bisita, lalo pa kami nagtatagalog, 'di ba? uh, Pag may bisita, hindi kami yung nag-i-English kami, 'di ba? Lalo na yung pag kasi may mga kaibigan din naman akong Batanggenyo eh, 'di ba? Sa mga Batanggenyo, talagang hindi na sasabi nila mayayabang daw yung mga Batanggenyo, pero sa atin natural lang. Natural lang, pati kung excited ka, ano ka talaga, you really sound excited, or like you really want to use the words you know, right? And you really want to be honest with what you feel. Uh, di ba? Kung peaceful naman, you could express anything. You are free to express anything you like, and that's how you really get into sort of the expanse of the kingdom of English. You can't, and it's a language. It's not like 'di ba? Paano ka ngayon? Paano ka ito yung sinasabi ko eh. Let's say na-stuck ka sa Metro Manila. Example na for Quezon City, daming nakikinig sa akin sa Quezon City. Let's say na-stuck ka sa Quezon City nagtatagalog mga tao, 'di ba? Na-stuck ka dito. But in Cebu, they speak really a different accent of English there. What if you get stuck here for 5 years because you lost your job, someone in your family had COVID, and then sort of someone in your family loves wearing masks, and sort of for some reason they became like preppers and hoarders. Ang nangyari pa sa inyo is basta na-stuck ka kunwari for 2 or 3 years, may nagka-crush ka taga Cebu. Pinuntahan mo sa Cebu ngayon. Pagdating mo sa Cebu, di mo alam nag-English mga tao doon. Oh, paano na? Kunyari, lagay mo na lang sa ibang example. Sa Japan, nag-English mga tao sa Japan, di ba? Sa Berlin, nag-English mga tao sa Berlin, di ba? Would you expect them to speak your own trending onomatopoeia? Alam nga naman sana all ka sa Berlin. Pag pumunta ka sa China, sa Hong Kong even, pag punta ka sa street tapos sisigaw-sigaw ka doon, sana all. Titingin sa'yo yung mga Tagalog sa Hong Kong. Sino ba to sana all ng sana all? Sino ka ba? Gaganunin ka ng mga Tagalog sa Hong Kong. Kaya sana all dito. Hong Kong to eh. Gaganunin sa'yo yung mga tao. You can't be like that, right? That's the ethics. That's the practice. You can't be like in Australia kung saan maraming Pinoy mate dyan sa Australia, right? You can't be all like all sounding like black people out there because I'm just saying, parang you can't be like that. You can't apply sort of different rules apply in different settings. Yun. Sa Tagalog, iba-iba yung pamamaraan, iba-iba yung kultura. Sabihin mo ng kultura, mas maganda yun eh. May rules dyan eh. Iba-iba yung game, iba-iba yung laro, yung ethics, yung, 'di ba, yung status, yung estado ng pamumuhay. Lalo na pag nasa iba ka ng setting. Eh dito sa Pilipinas, sa Metro Manila, we embrace everyone. Especially, we speak the same language, we speak the same spirit, the same mind. We're just gonna be like, minsan talagang squaminay lang. Sa umaga, mukha tayong pera, diba? Sa umaga. Pag sa gabi, mukha na tayong iba, hindi na tayo mukhang pera. Hindi naman pwedeng buong week ka mukhang pera. Sabihin, alam mo na yung Diyos nagpapahinga sa even yung pagkagawa ng ng universe daw 7 days. Tabi nagpahinga yung Diyos. Pati nga yung Diyos nagpapahinga eh, 'di ba? Tapos ikaw mukha kang pera pa rin. Like 24/7 mukha kang pera. Sino ba nagturo sa'yo ng ganun? 'Di ba English speakers. So hindi ko naman sinasabi na perfect yung English eh. Sasabi ko lang, yung mga nag-English perfect na sila lahat porket nag-English perfect na. Di ata. Di ata. Ang sasabi ng base Tagalog theory is Tagalog sounds like this, meaning that if it can sound like the same way that English speakers can, and if it can if it can get close to the way Indian people use English, then maybe our thoughts now could be accepted on our own, could be accepted in a caliber that is most usually only reserved for international level thinking. Tapos sasabihin mo, domestic lang kami kuya. Dito lang kami sa aming doghouse. We're still waiting for our treat, right? We're still waiting for our treat. Kasi sabi sa amin ni Mayor eh. Sabi sa amin ni Mayor, meron pa raw treat, may parating pa daw na kickback. And it's all this sort of waiting, all this sort of waiting. Ako ba, maghihintay pa ako na malaman ko pa yung kakampanya ng sunod na presidente. Hindi na. Di na, diba? Alam ko na yung presidente ngayon, alam ko na yung mga pinaggagawa niya, nakita ko na eh. Ano ba naman yung talagang mababago pa nung next na president, diba? Yung next na president, tatapusin pa rin niya yung nagawa nung presidente ngayon. Kung yung presidente ngayon, let's say we're in 2040, yung presidente sa 2040, kung sobrang dami niyang nagawa, sobrang dami niyang hinabol, ano pa naman ba yung ihahabol nung next na president? Either papantayan niya lang, or kung mas marami siyang pera, which I doubt, tatabunan niya. Pag tinabunan niya, ano yung itsura nun? Alam nga naman, we come from being like a developing country into a first world country in a span of 5 years. Ganun ba tayo ka-positive and optimistic? In a span of 5 years ba, magkakaroon tayo ng mga Tesla cars bigla? Mababago ba natin yung infrastruktura? Diba? Titigilan ba ng gobyerno ng local government yung Titigilan ba ng local government yung COVID na yan? Alam naman ng mga tao na kahit naman mabaksin ka, kung hindi mo doblehin yung shots mo, pwede ka pa rin magkasipon. Kasi nga, yung COVID, ginawa sa labs. Ginawa sa labs yan ng China. If you review, yung COVID was like a strain of sipon, coronavirus, that was, they say, has been manipulated in a lab somewhere in Wuhan, where they have a level 4 sort of parang zombie apocalypse kind of facility, Na doon yan ang unang nag-spread. Bago talaga yan. Bago talaga yan. And then when it spread, they put a cap on it. Right? O, dito lang muna to. Pakuluin muna natin. Eh di nalaman na ng mga Chinese, yung mga Chinese na Tagalog nalaman din nila. O sige, pakuluin din natin. Makikibike tayo dyan. After that, they did the text brigade. You know, hindi naman na tayo yung text capital. Tayo daw yung, malamang tayo yung text capital of the Philippines kasi yung mga sa Pilipino, mahilig daw sa text. Diba? Ba sa China, mahilig sa calligraphy. Ganun ba yun? Iba ba yung calligraphy sa text? Right? Iba ba yung lengguwahe sa text? Yung salita ba is really text? O yung text is yung nakapost? Right? Ano yung pinagkaiba ng salita sa text? Pag tinranslate ko itong audio na to into text, hindi ba yung audio yung nagiging text? Diba? O, so anong part ng salita yung nagiging text? At at lahat ba ng salita ay text? Lahat ba ng lengguwahe ay text? Or based on text? Ano yung pinagkaiba nila pag Venn diagram mo sila? Right? And I learned this from recently I've been studying linguists. And one of the main misconceptions about language is that I'm looking at the time here. One of the main misconceptions about language is akala ng maraming tao that text is language. So nagagalit sila sa text. Nagagalit sila pag na-trigger sila sa Twitter, sa Facebook, yung mga two-liners na pang-trigger lang, yung mga tae lang. Diba? Mga ipot-ipot lang, diba? Yun yung gusto niyo yung isipin mo nagpapatigger ka sa ganun on a daily basis tapos ginagawa mong content. Anong tawag dun, di ba? Parang, ano yung red ribbon? Cake? Parang, di ba? Parang, ang mangyayari sa kanya, nasasanay ka na yun yung kinakain mo. Di ba? Yak! Right? Nasasanay ka na tapos di mo na iniisip. Yan yung kinakain mo, yak! Diba, nagpapatrigger ka sa ganyan, yak! Tapos tuntua ka sa comments. Diba, nakakapagbasa ka na, diba? Kala mo nakakapagbasa ka na ng lingwahe. Tapos ang binabasa mo lang pala comments, pati mga pangalan ng kung sino-sino. Hundreds of people you don't even know. Diba? Isipin mo yung rate na yun. A technologist once said this, it's better to have a couple of tabs open. Mas maganda pang marami kang binabasang surfing na tabs, kahit anong tabs pa yan, kesa yung nagbabasa ka ng mas maraming yung comment ng sobrang daming tao. And actually, in tech, mas mabilis pa mag-load yung tabs of text kesa sa it takes more power, it takes more internet, basically. It takes more juice and hatak, if you're loading comments, right? And this is why we need faster internet, 5G and stuff like that. But if you're loading comment sections, the real-time social media, right? Makikita mo may nag-type pa nga on real-time eh. It takes more. What if you get used to that? Diba? Without having sort of a ground, without having, ano yung pangahawakan mo, diba? Lists upon lists of names, formulating some sort of con. Diba? E di nakukon ka. Hindi ka na nagsasalita. Actually, yung mga taong ganito naman, sinasabi na hindi ko naman kailangan magsalita eh. Meron akong internet. Right? There's some truth to that, I guess. But then, what happens when you're bored, bro? What happens when your smart girlfriend, your smart boyfriend, or someone in your office demands of you to research something, to really boost. Gusto nating boost eh. Gusto nating to have a competitive advantage. Gusto natin to be part of the game, right? What if someone demands that of you and then na-realize mo, damn, nakalimutan ko na paano magbasa ng five paragraphs. Sana natuto na lang ako magbasa ng 5 paragraphs, 'di ba? Pag pag sa future, inaabot mo yung time na after 10 years, nasama ka sa bahay na puro podcaster, puro content creator, puro sawang-sawang vloggers na lahat sila may sarili nilang podcast show. Nasali ka dun. And then you realize, damn, when the going gets tough, I don't have the right skills. I don't know how to record myself. I don't know how to speak into TikTok. I don't know how to live broadcast in IG, right? Hindi ko alam paano hindi ko alam paano mag-note down ng mga topics at malaman paano nagdidikit-dikit yung pananalita sa pagmamath, sa pagkain, sa pagpapaganda, pagiging GGSS, 'di ba? Sa pagpaparami ng coffee, pagtimpla at pag-eeksperimento. Sorry for the sounds there. Now, right? How then do I practice more of that? Sulat ka. Automatic. This in a way this is like automatic recording, right? Automatic monologuing, right? A practice of mirror meditation, a practice of mindfulness, extreme mindfulness. Sinabi na nga ng Dalai Lama ng mga Buddhist na naniniwala sa religion side of Buddhism is like, because Buddhism, dalawa rin. May religion side, may philosophy side. Bahala na kayo kung if the Chinese don't believe in that because the Chinese don't believe in that religion, diba? But anyway, that's in Tibet, and they have this whole political of that, and some people follow that actually. Anyway, sabi ng Dalai Lama as a great practitioner of meditation, um, na and of love, he speaks of love all the time as well. Sabi niya na there's two types of meditation actually. One is the analytic side and one is the peaceful side. Yung peace. So there's always dichotomies, right? There's always dichotomies. Eh kung gusto mong baliktad lagi yung ganun yung ugali mo, 'di ba? Eh kung gusto kitang baliktarin, tapos di ko naman alam yung opposites, 'di ba? Wala naman akong mastery of the dichotomies, right? Di man ako nagdo-drawing ng triangle or like square, 'di ba? Di wala. Saan ka pupulutin? Sa TikTok, 'di ba? TikTok ka na lang. TikTok ka na lang. May ano diyan eh, may numbers diyan eh. May hindi ko naman pinagtatawanan, eh. Sasabi ko nga, ini-encourage ko nga eh, 'di ba? We're very inclusive here of things that we could use because you could learn in 2 or 3 years. You could learn to create a feed. You could learn to interact with foreigners. You could learn to trust, who not to trust. You could pwede kang manawa, pwede ka ring manawa, which is one of the best skills that intelligent people have is boredom, right? Being bored with the right things, staying bored with the best. Period. I think I'm gonna have to end with that. I'm still super high off the monologic series. What I do really is really listen to weaker episodes and stronger episodes, and I hope really, to the best of my ability, that I could help inspire more people. Please do join the Rezbt S Podcast Hub. More and more, pabitin na ng pabitin yung podcast episodes. There's more on Spotify. There's more on YouTube. If I used to do like half this length, now the 90-minute mark sort of limits me because I have stuff to say. Bilang base Tagalog, someone who really alam mo yun, sinabi ko to eh, na parang meron talaga ang eureka moment. And minsan palayo ako ng palayo sa eureka moment na kahit naman ako lumalakad ako away from the BS creator. Pero deep inside, I have the scientific mind, and I have a way to study what I have housed myself in. Kung ano yung tinirahan ko na space, 'di ba? And I wish more and more people could idealize themselves to that. I'm not gonna cow down to sort of people saying that intellectuals don't have a place in this world. I do think that we are a rare breed, and especially because of that, I can only interact with a few of you guys. I can feel your if I could feel your gratefulness, if I could share being grateful with you guys, then I always would want to end with that. And no, walang bola yun. It's really, really ending with that cie mentality, right? Um, all right, so again, my name is Rez Sangtian Tsuchi Sensei Halala, which means Someday Dream is back now. Um, and I'm working a lot on new things, and I hope to be able to share with you more stuff for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode, Res BTS Podcast. out. Bye, guys. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.